I mean, Splunk is very easy. So let me just finish. I'll start speaking. It's not a problem if you're not able to do the exercise. And if you want, you can come back in the next. Okay, so we can start. So, hello everyone. I decided to make this bootcamp for Splunk because before I was working at Atlassian, I had the opportunity to work with Splunk for more than 3 years in my previous job, and I know that it's a very powerful tool, and I'm very happy that Atlassian made the decision to migrate everything to Splunk, because the major problem we had with Splunk in my previous company is paying for it, because it's a bit expensive, and it charges by the volume of data you ingest into it, not how many users or how many searches there is. Basically charged by the amount of data you push there. Gladly, I don't know if Glad exists. Atlassian is able to pay, or I don't know what they have between Splunk, and we have all the logs injected in Splunk, and this is a very powerful thing. So first thing, has anyone here ever used Splunk before?
Not before.
Okay, just here. Okay, so we're starting more or less. So this will be a very basic introduction course. My idea here is, I believe that Splunk is a very self-learn. It's a tool that you can learn very well how to use by yourself. You just need a kickstart to start using. So I'm gonna split this training in first, explaining how the data is ingested into Splunk, because it's good when you understand what is happening in the background, then you have more control on what you're searching and everything. And I'm gonna give some basic concepts, some basic searches, and some trickies you can do with Splunk in order to do some advanced search and empower you to create dashboards and some interesting stuff. So first, I want to start with very basic concepts related to architecture concepts. It's showing this AWS video related to Kinesis. So I don't know if everybody knows what is Kinesis, but Kinesis is the AWS solution we use to ingest all of our logs. So I'm going to start showing their video because it's very straightforward in order to. So this is Kinesis. This is an AWS product, and this is a very fast video, but it will be a good background
data
to explain.
Is all around us. Whether it's log
Data
files
is all
generated
around
by
us.
customers using your
Whether
mobile
it's
and
log
web
files
applications,
generated by
new
customers
e-commerce
using your mobile and
purchases,
web
in-game
applications,
player
new
activity,
e-commerce,
or as a fire hose of information coming from social networks, financial trading floors, and geospatial services. Collecting, storing, and analyzing this type of high-throughput information helps you stay up to date on your customers, organization, and business, but requires complex software and tons of infrastructure that can be expensive to buy, provision, and manage. Enter Amazon Kinesis. Kinesis makes it easy to set up extremely high-capacity pipes, which can collect and analyze your data in real time at any scale, enabling you to respond to anything from a new trade to a new high score immediately. So instead of having data locked away in large, text-based log files, which you keep meaning to look at later, just send each event to Kinesis and have it analyzed right away. Find patterns, trap exceptions, and keep an eye on all your operational details, taking decisive action instantly. Or maybe you're working with financial services data. You can now run minute-by-minute analytics continuously, instead of waiting until the end of the business day. Create dynamic dashboards such as value at risk stats, or update your financial models and simulations as soon as new data arrives. Turn raw data into detailed, actionable information, paying for the resources you need as and when you need them. And easily integrate with the rest of the Amazon Web Services Big Data family, including S3, Redshift, and DynamoDB. To get started, just create a new stream endpoint from the AWS console or SDKs and start pushing data in. You can choose the level of provision performance your data stream requires and add or remove capacity if your throughput changes. You can start running real-time analytics by incorporating the provided client library into your application, and then auto-scale the computation using Amazon EC2. There are no upfront fees, and you'll only pay for what you use. So to start using data in real time, at any scale, visit our website and sign up today.
Okay, so this is Kinesis. It's basically
Data is all around us. High throughput vision and extremely onto anything. Send each event to Kinesis, details taking this instantly. Another business day. Actionable data family, including started. Just create a new stream endpoint.
So Kinesis is an AWS product which allows you to throughput logs. Basically, that's the idea. So some years ago, Atlassian started the last project, Log as a Service. So basically, the last project is a Kinesis stream which receives log files from almost every service we run, including Unicorn, all the EC2 instance, every Micros instance. So everything we have in cloud that produces log files is throughputed to this big Kinesis stream using FluentD daemon. So FluentD is something that allows you, it's a daemon which instead of logging to a file, you log to this thing and it pushes remotely to somewhere. So this is a default solution AWS offers you to push logs to somewhere. So this is Kinesis. So Last introduces the Kinesis stream, and every time you create a microservice and everything, all the output your application generates goes to this Kinesis stream. And to analyze the data, so this is all the FluentD pushing logs from everywhere. And we plug it here, Elasticsearch database. So everything was being pushed to this Elasticsearch. And Kibana is the front-end tool which allows you to do the search and everything. So this was the existing solution before Splunk. So what happened now, we created all this Splunk infrastructure. It also runs in AWS. And we opened another tunnel. We opened another tunnel which is pushing everything that is going to Elasticsearch. It's also being pushed to Splunk, which is in the same. So Splunk is a combination of Elasticsearch. I mean, it's the storage solution. It indexes all the data, so we have a cluster of indexers, and also provides you the UI to execute the searches, which we call the Splunk search head. So basically, Splunk has two big components. It's the indexers, which are clustered and store data like Elasticsearch, and there is the Splunk search head, which is this UI which you just logged in. So one big difference between Splunk and Kibana is that here, the biggest part of data transformation happens here, when you get the logs and ingest it into Elasticsearch, because this is more or less a structured database. So you have to somehow prepare the data and structure into fields, JSON file, and store it here. On the other hand, Splunk is a text search store. So you don't store documents, you store log lines. So this is the major difference. While we have fields, JSON files here we have texts. But given that we did this before, what we have today, Splunk is a bunch of text file, which is a JSON, because we're not logging everything as a text. But the true thing is, everything you collect here, being a JSON or not, can be queried in Splunk. So I want to illustrate that because, more interestingly, we have all Unicorn logs in Splunk. We also have everything that runs in microservice in Splunk. I think this is 100% of what Atlassian runs. I don't know if we run something.
Do you have all Unicorn logs?
All Unicorn logs. We have application logs. We have access logs. And I think we also have the stats, sorry?
Analytic events.
No, analytic events is an exception.
They are there.
Analytic events wasn't ready, but I think they just did that because analytic events follow a different pipeline. It's not a log that generates, it's events that created in the browser, but they are also added everything in Kinesis. So the idea is that every type of log we produce is going to be available in Splunk.
Are you supposed to use specific logging library to log for that Splunk to be able to process it, or you can just keep logging as whatever you have been doing before, like in your code? So
basically, everything that produces a text log can be pushed to Splunk.
Right, you don't have to log in a certain format through a certain library.
You can log, that's one interesting thing in Splunk. You don't need to prepare the data, you can log anything. It can be a JSON, can be a CSV, can be a totally unstructured data.
Yeah.
And you can do some transformation in the indexing time and some transformation in search time.
So that includes everything you output, like even the console log.
Yes, anything. We have console logs and everything. So you can do some preparation at index time, which requires some setup, or you can do transformation at search time. So if you have unstructured data, such as console logs in Splunk, and you don't have fields and these things, if you spend some time in the search UI, you are able to extract fields from unstructured text log. So that's one of the things I'm going to show here. Okay, so having said that, Kinesis. Okay, so this is just more or less what I. So this is more or less what I just. Yeah, this is, I want to explain this again, but basically it's explaining the Kinesis stream, going to the indexes, and then you have search heads with regs that reads data from the, this is just the AWS diagram, what I just explained. Okay, so let's start playing with Splunk. So having said that, understanding this infrastructure, we can look to Splunk and understand that this is such as a big, giant text file with all Atlassian logs. So this is the way you can understand Splunk. So if you are in this screen, the first thing you look here is last 15 minutes. So this is the time interval you want to look at. One thing I would like to say is that using this real-time thing is a bit expensive because it opens a pipe and keeps the dashboards being updated in real time. And usually we don't need that. So we're just going to use that when we're creating very fancy dashboards. So for now, let's stick to the 15 minutes. And let's do just a basic search, which is start. Give me everything from the last 15 minutes. So basically imagine that we are doing here, we are doing a tail in a log file which contains all the log files in Atlassian. I mean, all trademark TM, everything that goes to Kinesis, pretty much everything. So the interesting output here is, I want to show some concepts. So Splunk is made from events. So every line log, regardless if it's a JSON, if it's a CSV, or is an unstructured data, is a text line, a log line. And this is one event. So basically what you have here is not this. The real thing is this. So this is what Splunk have, log lines. It's just happening to show you highlighted because it identified at search time that it's a JSON file. But this is not an information that is stored in the database. What is stored in the database is just the text file. So this is an event. I don't know if you're seeing the same thing. Yeah.
So which part is my text that actually log?
Everything. This is a log line. You don't know from where this thing is. It's just a log line. That is the last log line that went to Kinesis. You have no idea where that comes from so far.
So all this whole JSON like strings from the code.
Yeah, this is some log that some application spit it in a log file that was pushed through Fluentd to the Kinesis string and ended up in the Splunk.
Right. Yeah.
Splunk has no idea that this is a JSON or not. It just figured out it as a JSON at search time when it was showing to you. So okay, this is an event. Every event in Splunk is indexed with a list of fields. So we have the most important field is host. So basically this is where the log came from. But that's not very useful for us because Splunk is not collecting logs directly from the host. So this host, despite is the most important field in Splunk, is pretty useless for us because what is showing here is the collector that is here. So there's a Splunk collector here. So all the hosts will be the same. So this is an important caveat. So ignore hosts. Source is the second most important field. Again, is like you have hosts, so think that inside a host you can have more than one application producing logs. That will be the source. But again, when they migrated the existing indexes from Elasticsearch to Splunk, they used this awkward things. I think it's a hash, something like that. In order, it's something related to the existing mapping that we have in Elasticsearch and Splunk. So the source, again, the second most important field in Splunk, you have to ignore as well because it doesn't help you. And the third thing is source type. So source type is the configuration you do in Splunk to transform data at index time. So let's say you have a host, you have a unicorn instance here, and then the unicorn instance is generating application log, the console logs, and you know that this console log, it happens to be a JSON. Then you can come to Splunk, hey Splunk, from the host X, source Y, it's coming a log that I want you to understand as a JSON. So it will be indexed at search time. But again, that's useless for us because we simply duplicated that. So the three most important fields in Splunk we will not use because we migrated existing stuff. So I'm showing that just to demonstrate that this event has these fields plus a bunch of other fields.
For new stuff that's not migrated, are those three fields? And
everything that is ingested in Splunk has these three fields. These are three mandatory fields because it has to come from somewhere, in this case a collector. It has to be this identification because this is plugged into the collector, and also has to have a source type, even though the source type is not doing anything.
But you said because of the migration process that's specific to Atlassian, and those three fields are not used. But I'm just wondering whether that's always the case, or in the future when we are not using Elasticsearch or that sort of thing anymore, these things are coming.
That I am not able to answer because I don't know what's going to happen to the future. What I have to say is that even though we're not using, we don't need them because we created workarounds. So that's the main point. That it doesn't mean we don't have the information. We have it, but it's not in these three most important fields. They are in other fields. So I'm just going to start talking about that. So every event has a lot of fields. So these are the three most important fields, but we have a lot of other fields. So where these fields come from? Some of them Splunk understands automatically. Some of them you created in index time, and some of them you create in search time. So that's what I'm going to demonstrate to you. So in order to solve this problem of source type, of the thing we need to know now is I want to see logs from a particular thing. I want to see logs from Unicorn. I want to see logs from Jira Micros. I want to know where it's coming from. You just say that we don't have these fields. So we have a very important field. It's called event type. So this is a field Atlassian created to circumvent this lack of information in this field. So the event type is the meaningful name that will identify you what are that log. And in order to improve the discoverability, I'm gonna start jumping a bit in the language to not stay just talking. Splunk has the concept of pipes, very similar to when you're typing things in the bash script. So when you say get a file, pipe grab something, Splunk has a very similar thing with pipes. So you can do search, pipe another search, pipe another thing, pipe another calculation, pipe something, pipe table this, pipe chart this. So it's the same concept of the POSIX shell script. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm doing a search for star, give me everything from the last 5 minutes. And with that search, I want you to aggregate number of events by event type. So what I'm doing here, give me everything from the last 15 minutes, pipe, give me the count of texts by event type. So this is the most interesting command you have in order to start your discoverability, because doing that search, you're gonna get this. So in the last 15 minutes in this big log file, I have this number of coming from this event type. And as I said, the event type field is a meaningful name of what the log are. So now you can look at that and start understanding. So Rodrigo just said analytics event has just been migrated. So we have analytics events. We have something related to Jira AppDex. We have a lot of things. So that's the interesting thing with Splunk. Splunk is focused on discoverability. It's very powerful in order for you to understand what you have. You don't have to have previous knowledge. You can enter here and start looking for. So let's start with Unicorn, because Unicorn is very interesting. So you're interested, Fernando asked me, do we have Unicorn logs? So with that search, I can do another search. So from the list of all the event types, I want to search. So I want to search over this table, Unicorn, and it's a free text search. Remember, almost everything in Splunk is a free text search. Mainly, you just use fields to do aggregations. But if you're just doing discoverability, it's free text search.
What if you do it by event type equals unicorn?
You can't, because you don't. You can do event type equals star unicorn star, because you don't know if it's just unicorn. So you could do that, because the free text to search it's star star, or you could do that instead of star, event type equals star unicorn star. But again, if I hit that, I'm gonna see a lot of text, but I won't know for sure what are the event types, because can be anything. Ambulance, you need to type correctly. That's important. So yes, I can do that.
That's everything that contains the string unicorn in an event type.
Yes, that's all the text lines which came from an event type which contains unicorn in anywhere. But again, you don't know all of them. So you can do again this. So what I did here, I narrowed down the first search to event type equals star unicorn star, and now I'm doing again, give me everything that came from this. And now you're gonna have basically the same thing I was doing the other way around. So you see why just unicorn doesn't work, because there's a bunch of things coming from unicorn. So that's interesting. So we have Nginx. So Nginx is our edge in unicorn. So basically here, have you everybody seen PALS? The shipped thing I did to analyze logs? So this is where I pulled the data from.
Right. So where do those services get their official event type? Is it assigned by someone, or they?
Is assigned by someone somewhere here.
So
there is some intelligence here. I don't know exactly where. That is looking to the kinesis. It's coming this way from this place, from this host, tag with this event type.
Right. So as a developer, you don't need to care about what event type your service is.
Only if you are creating new infrastructure. Usually, as a developer, you'll be given a service that is already pushing data with the correct event type.
Right. So it automatically belong to that event type.
So for instance, the dog food environment we're in Jira, we are trying to provision in micros right now, we're struggling everything. There is an event type.
But I need to know what event type my logs mine for
So this is related to discoverability. So let's say you want to discover where your logs are. So this is another thing you can do. So for instance, I know that I'm gonna do a magic here. So I'm gonna try to figure out an event type from a particular log that I know that exists, but I don't know where is it. So this is another discoverability. Do you want? I can send you these search later, but I think it's pretty straightforward. So in terms of discoverability, you have an application that is running somewhere, and you want to know where and if this is in Splunk. So one thing you can do, you can go to Jira. So this is my running. Let's say I want to see where I have Jira logs. I look to my logs and try to find something that I'm pretty sure it's happening in production. Let's try to find something other than an error here. Probably this is something that is happening in production, right? So I can go to my big text file, which is Splunk. And if you lost Splunk, you're really lost Splunk. It's here. So you can do search for that. So if I just Splunk, in the last 15 minutes, show me everything that contained the string.
It'll be very expensive, right?
If it's not the last 15 minutes, it's not that expensive.
Even if you run it against 30 days, it's super fast.
Yeah, because Splunk gives you the results. Okay, so it didn't find anything. So let me check if I need some stars here. Probably this is right because zero starting is not something that happens every time, right? So probably this is correct. No, I think it was missing the stars. Okay, so I'm having a lot of logs, and now I can do, how do I find out the event types?
Type.
5 stats,
Yeah.
count by event type.
Okay. So one of them must be mine.
Yeah, and it's pretty easy to understand that. Unicorn Jira is what we have, and Micro's Jira Dev US1 is Vertigo that we're trying to spin up. So that's straightforward. We had 4 Jira starting messages in the last 15 minutes. So someone just deployed Jira in Vertigo.
Yeah.
Bad. So this is discoverability. So now if you want to start drilling down, you just do that. There's one more thing you can do that is if you don't want to use stats, there is also a lot of things in the UI. So let's talk a bit more about the UI. So here, every time you do a search in a time period, you have the time period here. So this is the last 15 minutes. And this is the occurrence, just a quick distribution of all the occurrences. This is the total events, pagination, and everything. And here is an interesting area related to fields. So, as I said, these are the most important fields, but you have by Splunk. Splunk automatically starts to understand the relation between the data you're ingesting and start automatically creating fields for you. This is one interesting thing from Splunk. And you also can create them by configuration and everything. But you see, we have event type here. And if you click here, you can see the distribution. So you don't have to do the stats count by, you can drill down through the UI. And okay, oh, this is what I want to know, but what is that? You can click, and Splunk is very oriented to drill down. What is drill down? Clicking and going to somewhere related to the scope of what you're clicking. So every time you click something, it adds this thing in your search. So this is the basic drill down.
So that's an and, right?
Yes, yes, interesting. So everything you put in Splunk by default is and. If you want to do an or, you need to specify an uppercase or. Everything is and by default. So this and this is the same thing. It gives you the same output. It should, I think. I think the last 15 minutes is gone. Yeah. So about performance. So you're concerned that it's very expensive. So let's say I'm doing this search in the last 7 days. You're gonna do that. The interesting thing is that Splunk starts piping the results. I just loaded. So it's when you put event type, you're drilling down, you're narrowing down the search a lot. So that helps everything. Let's try to do a free search text. Let's see if it takes a bit more in the last 7 days.
Will it start coming?
Yeah.
After?
Yes. You start getting results before the search finishes.
All right.
So it's running. And you don't have to be concerned because Splunk has execution quotas. So if you start doing a lot of concurrent search, you see the results are starting to be piped. So this is much more expensive because I'm not drilling down to event type. But it's being streamed. It's streamed. So you see, it's very slowly. And let's talk a bit about jobs. So every time you hit an enter here and do a search, you're spawning a background job in a Splunk database system. So it's a background job that is running. It's a very similar to Hadoop, the MapReduce thing. It's doing a MapReduce in the cluster nodes, and it's piping the results to the search head. And this is actually a background job that is running here. You can inspect your running jobs. No, it's not here. If you go, activity jobs. If you go to activity jobs, you have a report of all the background jobs you're executing. And there's a quota for that. So you're not allowed to run too many searches, both that requires too much space or CPU.
Respond to my
User, yes.
identity.
Yeah, so these are all of your jobs. So I have done jobs, which already execute because they are kept in memory in the database, and this one is running.
Are those all billable, or is one package of payment that allows it? I mean, if I keep searching.
No, as I said, we don't pay for searches.
That's right.
We pay for ingesting data. Searches are free.
Right.
Searches are free. You can put as much clusters you want. The performance is completely free. They charge you here when you inject data. So the Splunk business model is offer everything they can in order to make you push as much data as you want, because that's where it is. So you can search as much as you want. Okay, so in terms of discoverability, that's what I would like to show. So basically the concept of event type field and the understanding of a text file attached to fields. Is that clear? Something? Okay, so I want to give some examples just to illustrate discoverability. So one thing I did, it was very interesting. A week ago, I was trying to provision new instances in Jira Vertigo, and I had no idea where to look for the logs. So what I did is search for the tenant name I created. So what is the knowledge behind this? I created a tenant with that name. There's a lot of orchestration services involved in this creation of thing. And probably some of the components are outputting logs with my tenant name, because that's the common sense a developer will do. So I did that. I'm gonna make a search more aggressive here. And this is one of the instances I was trying to create. So I just put the text here and start searching. So it's a completely unstructured data, and I started with not a log file. I started with a string that I presumed some application involved in the workflow would be outputting. And then again, discoverability. Oops. I double T. So look, something's interesting. Catalog service, cloud provisioner. I don't know what that thing is. Micros 01, Monarch. Monarch, how Monarch works. And now okay, I found that Monarch is involved in my provisioning, so I can drill down to Monarch. So it will add, and now I can remove, because now I'm not interested in my instance. I'm interested in understand what Monarch is doing. So, and now you can start looking at the logs and start to see some interesting things. So you can start seeing where it's running, the IP, there's a health check, it's a micro application. So we just discovered that when you provision a new instance, there's a microservice called Monarch, which is outputting these logs. This is discoverability. So I'm gonna teach a new command here. So we learned, the only command we learned so far is stats. And I'm gonna talk a bit more, but it's stats is every time when you want to do something by something. So you will count by something, average number by this and that. You want to create a chart of this. So every time you think about, I want this by this, it's stats, even for dashboards, for anything. So the second command I'm gonna talk here is table. So stats is for aggregation and table is for visualization. So I'm looking here, I can see here that I have this message field, which seems to be the text log. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna do a table message. So the results, instead of showing the whole JSON file, the log file, it will show me just the field. So this is much more similar with a log file. So this is the actual log file, because I'm just showing the message field. Because here in Elasticsearch, all the logs have to be a JSON file with a lot of fields, and the full solution we made is that your real log coming from your file will be a field called message. So this is a standard that was introduced with Elasticsearch. So basically, every application that is generating log is pushing a JSON file here, because that's the way Fluentd and not Kinesis, but Fluentd works, and they are wrapping the log message in the message field. So in the most general case, when you look just at the message field, you're looking to something very similar to the real log file. And I say that there are 3 important fields in Splunk: host, source, and source type. And there's a 4th one that is very important, which is underline time. So this is the time the data was indexed.
That's the time of
When the data arrived there.
The time zone of the services.
It's UTC.
UTC.
Yeah, UTC. So this is now the last log from Monarch. I'm presuming that Monarch generated something now. So it's UTC. You need to make the calculation here. I think it's minus 12 hours. Yes, minus 12, possibly.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Just Google for it. I'm not sure. So the table message is to give you results in table mode. So let's say you want to create a dashboard. You want to create a fancy dashboard with a report and then with a table result. You use table just to generate table with the fields you're interested in. And every table can be sorted. So let me try to get a sortable field. So I'm going to remove table. Let's go back to the raw results. And let's see if we have something sortable here. Okay, level. So we have level, the log level. Table, time, level, message. So you see that there are some logs that doesn't have the level, because level is something that you have only in Java applications. And this is not Java. This is probably dogstats. This is the daemon that pushes metrics to Datadog, and this doesn't generate a log in the Java format. But again, this is a text file, so you have everything here. And Splunk always tries to give you the optimistic results. And as I said, you can order things here. So it doesn't make much sense, but I'm ordering alphabetically the level of the message. Or I can do sort here. This is more fancier. So if it's something that it's interesting to sort, that's the way you do. So this is more or less how you play with fields. And what I'm doing here, I searched for a text, identified the event type, created a table from pre-existing fields. I'm not sure if those fields were configured in Splunk indexing or if they're discovered automatically, but the thing is, they are indexed. You don't have to do any magic to use them. When you do a basic search, you already have the fields. But let's try to do something a bit more interesting now. Is there any questions so far about something? So one interesting thing here, so what we're looking here, I can see, so I'm gonna do something that I'm just looking here. I'm seeing a lot of error messages here that probably is coming from Nginx or Apache, which is access logs. And we have 500s here, 400s, 401s. But this is not a field. This is in the text message. But I want to create a dashboard about HTTP responses that is coming from Monarch. So now I'm gonna teach how to extract fields from text. So yeah, let's start from here. So I just decided that I want to create this dashboard. So the information you want is in the message. So we're going to use regular expressions to extract this information. So the third command, so we learned stats, table. Now we're going to learn rex. Rex is regular expression extractor. So you can do that, rex. So rex, it looks a bit fuzzy to use, but it's very easy when you do 3 or 4 times, you really learn how to use. So I want to extract something from the message. I want to extract something from the message. And by what I'm seeing here, every log message that starts with 3 numbers is the HTTP access. So I just put in quotes a regular expression that matches with what I'm looking for. So this is something it's not hard to do, like a regular expression. Give me every message that contains we start with 3 numbers and then have everything outside the group. I think I should put in space here. I want that. And how do you extract the field? So this is a regular expression, and this is the Splunk magic. So you create a regular expression group with parentheses, and then you put exclamation mark. This exclamation mark is not from the regular expression. This is the Splunk magic. Yeah, this is the confusing part, because you have exclamation marks in regex, but when you write this exclamation mark less than and greater than, this is the Splunk notation. And what you do here is the name of the field you want this capture group is extracted to. I think it's correct. Let's try. And where this field is going to exist.
In your table, right?
If not, no, it will not exist in my table because it's working in pipes.
Yeah.
So the field will exist in the next pipe.
Right.
So in order to use the field I extract on Rex, I need to pipe and do another command which uses this. This is the only way to see a field you created in search time. It will not show you in the raw results because this field doesn't exist. It's logical.
It will not appear alongside other real fields, right?
Yeah, it will never appear. It will only exist during your search.
Right. So if I want to see them appearing side by side, then
You need to use another table. So let's see if that worked. So I created a new table, exactly the same one. But before the message, I'm gonna put the field here. Let's see if that works. Oops. Yes, I never reject syntax. Missing terminator.
you said it's an exclamation mark, but you put a question mark there. That.
Yeah, no, that's supposed to be. Let me check if. Yeah, format. Yeah, you see this is the format. So this is the group name. So it's correct. I think there's something wrong with my regex. So possibly if I do a dot star space greedy. Yeah, this is not Splunk, this is regex problem. Dot star greedy.
What is sub pattern name?
Can you probably try to remove the last dot star place at the end? Yeah, so now try that.
Let's try to do something
Yeah, the
else.
last question mark as well.
Jesus. Let's try to get. So, in cases like that, if you start typing command, Splunk gives you a drop down of real searches that other people are doing. So this is one interesting thing. This is common history from everyone. I don't know exactly how it deals with data leak, with security here, because you're seeing search from other person. Don't know exactly how that works, but that can help you. So let me try to get on.
So the parser apparently stops at dash. So if you have dash in your name, in your field name, apparently it stops.
Ah, yeah. I think yes. I think you can't have dashes in field names. Probably that
So
was
it's
the
an underscore.
Let me just remove that. Yeah, possibly that was the problem. Yeah, good catch. Yeah, so you are not allowed. Let me fix that because it's. I want 3 numbers and a space and anything else.
Google.
Yeah, there we go. Thanks. Okay, so this field is a logical field that only exists here. You're not changing the index. You're not doing anything wrong. So you can extract anything and it only exists in your search. Okay, let's keep doing. So we can see here that there are some things that doesn't have level and HTTP response. So let's ignore those things. So we can do another search. Search HTTP response. This works. If it's only numbers, Splunk automatically understand that this is number. So now we're supposed to have on HTTP response. Okay, so it's getting better. But that's not what I want. So what I want to create here is a fancy dashboard, like with that 200s, 400s. Okay, but we already have the data. And I can keep iterating over that. So what I want to do now, what do I use when I say that I want something by something?
Stats.
So I want stats count by the field I just created. Yeah, probably my regex is not perfect. Yeah, but we can see here that, and let me order by, just to check. Yeah, so possibly it's extracting things.
Because yes.
I'm not sure if this is why, but we can see. So we can remove the HTTP response and show me those HTTP responses equal 103. Let's see if that's valid. Oh, search. When I have multiple search, I can use the same. Yeah, that's. Yes, yeah, that's it. I just saw this problem. So I can see here that my regex is capturing 3 numbers from everywhere.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So that the suggestion is why. So if I write a start thing, start.
Yeah.
Ah, much better. Thanks for the suggestion. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's perfect yet, but I think you guys understand more or less. It's just a basically of writing a correct regex and filtering the results properly. And having these results, so this is where things starts getting interesting. So Splunk offers a lot of different types of visualization of the data, and it completely depends on how the data is shaped. So if you have a result that is only one number, you can only visualize one or two particular types of data. So you have a big number, or you have a gauge. So this is visualizations for one number. When you have tables, you have visualizations such as column bars, tables, and depending on the shape of the data, you will have different visualizations available. And you can quickly discover that going to the visualization tab. So when you go to the visualization tab, it automatically gets that response and try to translate to a graph, and it will show you a lot of different ways you can display that. I think this is interesting. So let's just Yeah, so we can see here that the 200s are dominating the graph. So this is not more. So one thing we can do here is remove the and not HTTP response equals 200. I don't want to see the 200s because 200s are okay. But this is a easy way to. Okay, so much better. So in the last 30 days, we have this. So this is a quick demonstration. So what we did here, I never looked to Monarch logs before. I didn't know this thing existed. So I just randomly added a tenant data provision. I figured out that there is a Monarch logs, and I was able to see the logs, extract something from a text message that nobody thought that should be measured, at least in this situation, because they're just logging out as plain text, generated a field, and I was able to create a dashboard from some unextracted data. So this is one interesting, this is what I believe it's very powerful in Splunk, is the discoverability and the ability to work with data that wasn't previously prepared to be worked on. So this is more or less the summary of the first part of the training. So basic commands, stats, table, and recs. So, and the visualization thing, you can start doing a lot of interesting stuff. Any questions so far?
Just curious. So where those huge amount of log data will get stored in Splunk, in Amazon? Is it in this?
I'm not sure. I can't answer that. I don't know if it's EC2, the whole EC2 instance, or if it's S3 buckets. I don't know exactly what they're using.
Yeah.
But if you start looking to the links, I have a link here to the Splunk high-level diagram. Probably there's a lot of sub-pages there explaining the Splunk architecture, and you can drill down there. If you look to the Splunk page, it's where the links are. Did you sign the Splunk Bootcamp? That page. So I'm just following more or less this agenda here. So if you look to this link, it's Splunk, it's the last space, and Splunk is owned by the last team, and there's a lot of technical information, and it's something that can be answered, but I don't have this answer now. It just works for me. And I know the indexer is a machine called Bondi, because I saw that somewhere.
It's in the host a lot of times.
Sorry?
It's in the host name a lot of times.
Yeah,
Bondi, USC, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, but this is not Amazon? I'm not sure what exactly. I'm pretty sure I heard it as Amazon, but I might be wrong, but it might not be Amazon. It's hosted somewhere.
I just saw it here in the event logs.
Yeah, I thought it was Amazon, also, but I'm not sure.
I've got one question that maybe you won't be able to answer. Why do we have good data, Kibana, Splunk, Datadog?
What is good data?
Good data is almost the same thing as this.
Yeah, so good data is a bit different because good data is, just to let people know, good data is a commercial product that we also have. It's an ETL solution. So ETL solution is extract, transform, and load. So the ETL has not only the searching and the storage mechanism, but it also provides you the transformation thing. So the transformation flow is where you configure, I want to get data from this database, I want to get data from these log files, I want to get data from where, but it's basically, ETL is more focused to database. So let's think you have a big company where you have CRM database, you have sales database, one is Postgres, another is Oracle, and you want to put all this data all together. So it's not focused on logs, it's focused on relational database in centralizing, aggregating relational database. So good data is focused on that.
Right.
So this is, there's a lot of overlap with Splunk. You can do a lot of things, almost everything you do with good data in Splunk, but the solutions and the tools it provides is more focused to that. So you have a lot of database connectors, a lot of tools to do queries and SQL, so it's more focused to relational database, good data. Datadog is more focused in monitoring and metrics. So Datadog is Nagios, is like Nagios in the cloud environment. So Datadog is something where you push metrics, you push numbers, and you set alerts, thresholds, and things like that. So again, there is overlap, but Datadog has more support for that. So for instance, Datadog is interesting because there's a lot of social relationship related. So every time something goes out a particular threshold, it automatically starts a chat room. You can mention people there. So it's like an issue tracker related to metric thresholds and monitoring. So Datadog is focused on metrics and monitoring. Good Data is focused on aggregating relational data. And Splunk is focused on logs.
But I can use Splunk to create Datadog dashboards, right?
Yes, and you can do the other way around also. You can make Datadog push message to Splunk. Yes, you can do both things. But the thing is, for instance, the SRE team is much more focused on Datadog than Splunk. They are more concerned with Splunk because their goals, their monitoring, their operandus is built on top of Datadog. Probably they're going to start, they're using a lot of Splunk, but it's just a more suitable tool to a particular purpose. But you can do anything with anything.
How do you use Splunk to make a Datadog dashboard?
Sorry?
How do you use Splunk to make a Datadog?
I don't know, I haven't done it. But I
because that was going to be the solution to my problems.
yeah, there is a blog post about it,
Yeah?
on how to do it. Yeah.
So in Splunk you can create alerts and things with push things to any place you want.
Yeah,
So
but the thing is that Kibana has the open API, so everything
I think Splunk API is open now.
is open now.
I think it is. I heard someone saying that. So Splunk has a REST API, which allows you to do a lot of things, and also has scheduled jobs and monitoring things, so you can monitor search. If a particular search is higher than that, do this. And given that, you can do pretty much anything. And I'm pretty sure, hey, okay, I have a Confluence page from last explaining all the plan about pushing analytics pipeline to Splunk. So there is some green, some yellows, or some reds, things that are done and not done yet. I don't know if that project is over. And I also have a PC ticket I can send you. Sorry, who's asking? Mark Lozano. Let me take a note here. Okay, so I'm gonna try to find this page explaining how the situation of, man, I don't know how to use a Mac, Jesus. Sorry, your name is Mark? Mark Lozana, okay. Thing to send analytics Splunk plan. Okay, I'll remember that. Anything else?
But we don't need Kibana anymore, right?
Yes, and answering your question, why do we still have Elasticsearch? Because we are in a migration phase. That's one of the reasons I'm running this Splunk, because I believe that as soon as every team feel comfortable with Splunk, we're going to decommission Elasticsearch. I think that's the plan. So right now it's duplicated because not all the teams are confident or have enough knowledge to use Splunk, or we are still validating if Splunk offers everything that everybody's doing with Elasticsearch. Don't have this.
I know that some teams already have like dashboards in Kibana.
Yes. So Jira Vertigo Search right now, they're migrating all the Elasticsearch dashboards with Splunk, but they didn't finish. So right now, if we turn off Elasticsearch, it will impact team. So that's the reason. So I think this answers the question why we have Elasticsearch, Splunk, Datadog, and Good Data. So it's basically a multi set of tools for the most different stuff. And there is also Socrates. I don't know if you heard that one.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, Socrates is a high-level ETL which acts between, so you have all data in Atlassian, everything pushes data to Socrates, and then Socrates pushes to Good Data. I think something like that. Not sure. Socrates is an abstraction of, but it's ETL stuff. It's more in the ETL stuff. It's not related to log and this kind of thing. So it's a big ETL project close to Good Data. And
So,
probably there's
so it has nothing to do with pipes and things like that and streams.
no, basically, ETL involving having jobs to pull data.
From database.
Yeah, basically ETL has this concept of having the knowledge and the tools to go to a database and pull data. But it doesn't have to be a database. We had the QA match thing. You can pull data. It's software. You can pull data from anywhere. But basically, it pulls data from somewhere, mostly from database.
Right.
Good Data is a competitor from Tableau. Tableau is a Good Data competitor.
Last question. So I'm assuming then that Datadog is actually being fed by a Kinesis stream?
No.
Okay.
Datadog is different.
It has its own collectors.
Yeah, they have their own agents.
Ah, that's right.
Datadog.
This dog.
That's the. So they have their own, because one big different thing from Datadog is that here you have text. So this is not as much performance as this. Datadog has its own protocol, which makes things. I think it uses SNMP, which is a lightweight protocol, which makes much more performance.
Yeah.
So here you have big fat streams of data, which you have to pay all this infrastructure to handle that. On the other hand, this thing you can push directly to the internet, to the external Datadog thing, because this is very lightweight. So this is one major technical difference between Datadog, because here SNP, you send metrics, you don't send log files, and metrics are compressed and sent in a UDP very lightweight way, so it's very light. It's focused on monitoring large volume of data centers and don't have any impact. But here you have impact, so you have to provide a lot of Kinesis streams. This is very much more expensive than this. Yeah, so this is a valid difference.
My log lines will never get lost, right? It will always show up somewhere, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, yes, I presume so. I believe if your logs are being handled by LAS, they're never going to be lost. Because Kinesis streams, the idea of Kinesis streams is have a transaction here that only ACK you when the log is stored somewhere in the persistence stream. But I think the major answer is if it's handled by LAS, it should never be lost. We have some downtimes, especially in Elasticsearch. We have some downtime in Splunk when they upgrade the index, but you never lost data if it's set up correctly. Not supposed to.
I mean, not just being persistent. I mean, if I put it in from one end of the pipe, and it will always turn up somewhere.
If it enters here, it will get here and here.
Right. I can totally trust it.
Yeah, I cannot answer for last, but that's the idea, right?
Yeah, if it's not showing up in the search, that means it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, let's do a quick interval, and what I'm gonna do next is play more with the UI and build the dashboards and do some drill down. So let's learn how to build dashboard, create some URLs that you can send to other people and put on the TV screens and do something more fun. So just 5 minutes quick interval. Get some.